Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's something a little different. I know most of the videos so far have featured Japanese ships, in fact, I think all of them. Um, but today what we're going to do is I actually have my Cleveland, and I'm grouped up with one of my clanmates here, Angle of Death, and we're on North. So today the idea of this video obviously is to show off the Cleveland itself, um, but also to talk a little bit about carrier play. I know that I don't actually have any carriers in my port right now. I have played carriers before. By no means am I an expert or understand maybe the finer tactics of carrier play, but um, it seems to me that there are some pretty obvious things about carriers that you want to do in order to support the team, help them out, and get that victory overall. So anyway, the plan here initially for me was to go towards the west side. Um, I thought that that would be the best place to go initially because I am grouped up with a carrier here, so I thought at the very least if I'm over on that side and there's an early strike towards the carrier, you can see him there, that I'll be able to intervene and help support, maybe keep him alive, during those first few minutes. Because, again, I do see it fairly often where carriers are playing against each other, and they just go for the strike early on. Now, obviously, in this case, it wasn't really that big of a threat. It is because the enemy carrier in this case is a Langley. Um, there was a platoon who thought that maybe it was a good idea to bring in a tier 4 into a tier 6 match. I think there might be some 7s in here maybe, but teach their own, I suppose, but it didn't do their team any favors, that's for sure. So continuing to head over here to the west, I do see some targets pop up. Uh, just on a side note as well, take note of the target that you're looking at. Like, for example, this is a Congo. Look at the superstructure on the Congo. You can tell that he's not fully upgraded, so he doesn't have as many hit points, as many secondary batteries, as much AA. He might have the propulsion upgrade, maybe the range increase, but um, the main thing there, he doesn't have the hit points. Maybe it adds extra armor. I'm not 100% sure, but definitely the hit points aren't there, right? So keep that in mind. With my cruiser here, um, it is a Cleveland, and I do really enjoy the high explosives in it. Actually, I do use armor piercing now and then. This battle, I think it's just all high explosive, but I mean, it's great. You'll see at the end of the battle number of fires that have been set. So we can see that their team is moving mostly to the channel on the east side. If you take a look there at the mini map, see them sort of pushing into that side where I'm on the west side right now, and it looks fairly quiet. So at this point, I'm going to be turning around, not hanging out over here. Um, why not go support the team? Again, I'm in a cruiser. Cleveland is incredibly flexible, and I've got that flexibility to go push on the other flank and help out the team. Um, in my opinion, the difference in terms of flexibility between a Japanese cruiser and an American cruiser, I might have touched on this before, but it is definitely the AA ability of the American cruisers and the torpedo ability of the Japanese cruisers. Obviously, that's a pretty glaring factor there. There are other subtle differences as well. American cruisers at low to mid tier anyway, are a little slower than the Japanese cruisers, but I do find the American cruisers to be more agile than the Japanese cruisers. Japanese cruisers are amazing, don't get me wrong, but the American cruisers seem to be slimmer, shorter, maybe not as beautiful. In my opinion anyway, I find the Japanese ships just gorgeous, but because they're slimmer and a little shorter, they are more maneuverable. Case in point, the New Orleans. I don't have a New Orleans yet. I can't wait to get one. Had it in closed beta. It's a great cruiser, fantastic cruiser. Um, but that ship is a really good example of how short and maneuverable that ship can be. Even the Clevelands and later Baltimore, Des Moines, they're all sort of same hull shape. This hull shape is really nice as well. You know, it's not too wide, not too long, very, very flexible hull. So, you know, the American cruisers really do have their own sort of flexibility associated with them, and it's fun to play between the two styles. You can't just, you know, play a Japanese cruiser the same way you're going to play an American cruiser. And that's one of the things too that I really enjoy about this game is the diversity of the different ships and different nations, different play styles. I find anyway it helps keep the game interesting for me. I hope you find the same thing because, you know, obviously we want the game to be a success overall. So as I said, you know, continuing to shoot HE shells into different ships. Moving back into the west side now, you can see I'm getting into firing range of the ships that are coming into the channel. So I want to start exploiting this, doing damage over time to the enemy team, you know, getting them to pop their repair abilities if they're a battleship, to get them to heal, so that overall my team will have the advantage and be able to really do some damage and get these guys gone. Now I am getting support from two other battleships from my team and a Cleveland. So that's great. So there's 4 of us involved at this time. At this point in the game, I want to draw attention back to the carrier on our team. If you notice, since the match has begun, hasn't moved. Hasn't moved at all. I struggle with that. You know, I can understand lower tiers with carriers that you probably don't move around a whole lot. I mean, your ship is slow, ship is small. I can understand it, but at these tiers, I think it's valuable for a carrier to be in the near the front and supporting the team. Not only does it ensure, you know, a faster turnaround time on your planes that you're launching off, you're doing more damage, so it's good for you, but then it's also good for the team, right? The team has that carrier support there, able to exploit any potential regroups or retreats from the enemy team, and you know, that might be the critical factor on that front for the push and the ultimate breakthrough, hopefully leading to victory. So I don't know. I don't think just staying in one spot is necessarily good at all. I question it. I don't know what you guys think. If there are any carrier pilots out there, or carrier captains out there rather, you know, be sure to leave a comment. Let me know if I'm wrong, or you know, if I'm onto something. Overall, what I'm trying to do anyway is just bring awareness to this and maybe change the ways people play that ship, the carrier, and bring it back to the team, right? Doing the support of the team, because I find, especially in these random battles, it's one thing to be talking in chat and saying what you're going to do, but I mean, if you're in a random battle and you're actually legitimately trying to support the team and you're there with other ships, covering them, taking hits for them, you know, really showing those people that you're trying, I find that it pulls together the team more, and usually those are the battles that you end up winning, and you end up winning and getting a lot of points, and it surprises you because you don't expect to earn that much, because you don't think you did a whole lot, but you really did. Which you can see as well in this video here. I mean, in the background I've got me playing it out in my Cleveland. So far all I've been doing is supporting the team. I'm just firing shots in on any targets that are in range, you know, of those targets, picking the most opportune target to take down, or looking at what target the team is shooting at and shooting at that same target as well. I mean, there's a lot to be said about focus fire. I think that focus fire is just sort of common sense, but you know, maybe not for everyone. So I mean, you'll notice here, like, to get back to the game, I have moved back into the center, sort of, back into my cap, kind of reassessing what's going on here, just to make sure that we still have this, right? Because in this position, I'm still flexible enough to, again, go to either side. You can see I'm shooting on a destroyer right now because he's in the range. I don't know what this guy was doing, if he was, why he was just sitting there. Maybe he wasn't sitting there and it just looked like he was, but it seems I've been coming across a lot of people lately who are just sitting there, and I don't understand that at all. I know we have throttles and whatnot, but just because you have a throttle doesn't mean, you know, you can leave it at stop. put it to full speed, and adjust from there when necessary, but that's me anyway. Now, this destroyer, though, I mean, he's fairly crafty, right? So we can see that he wasn't in smoke before. Maybe I just mistakenly thought he was stopped, I don't know. Anyway, but he did pop his smoke, so he's here. So I do want to get him. I don't like. I love destroyers. I just don't like fighting destroyers and having them loose in and amongst the team. They can do so much damage with those torpedoes. So if I'm the closest ship to them, and if it's the right call, then I go in and take them out. Now, when you're approaching a destroyer screen like this, you try to keep as little as your ship exposed as possible. So I usually do go straight in. I try to keep my bow to his ship. He's not focused on me right now. You can see he was shooting at my ally, so I'm immediately pumping in fire. And this is where another aspect of where the Cleveland just shines through. I mean, this thing is a destroyer killer. And, no doubt about it. The only argument you can make to that is it's an anti-aircraft ship, right? So I'm not going to debate. I agree with both. So the Cleveland is a fine ship. If you don't have one, really consider getting one. Consider keeping it. It's going to serve you really well in the game, in the short term and in the long run. Tier 6 is a great money-making tier, especially when you get to the higher tiers. I mean, the grind and the cost. It's fun to have a ship that you can go in and just have fun in, mess around with. Cleveland's great for that. So, try and get yourself one fantastic ship. Now, the battleships that we were sort of parlaying with earlier, they finally made it around the headland here. And they're coming in towards us. I'm not too concerned about them, though. I mean, you can see I've got some great support with me, some friendly cruisers. So I'm going to be pumping HE into them. Why not? If you're thinking, maybe you should be using armor piercing, but no. HE, we're setting this guy on fire. I've got some heavier cruisers with me, so they can be the armor piercing. I'm hoping they've done armor piercing, but who knows. So we're going to take these guys down. Now, I think it was at this point in the battle that I noticed, where are all the planes, right? I can see that the enemy carrier is gone, but where are our planes? Why aren't they out scouting? Where are the bombers? Why aren't they out taking down, bombing something? Well, I just saw an enemy scout. I'm looking at the mini-map here. No, I don't see any friendly planes. So this is another thing that really boggles my mind about carrier captains. I do see it from time to time. This game happened as well. Why is it that you just stop launching your planes once the enemy carrier is gone? Or, if you're the only carrier on our team and you've just got fighters, and you're just like, well, no, I'm not even going to bother because the enemy team is or the enemy team doesn't have any carriers. My fighters are useless. Why is it that they just then sit there and don't do anything? I'll never get it. You can see the friendly planes that are in the sky. Those are from our ships. Those are our scout planes, our fighters. Those are the ships, planes that we've launched to help support our push over here, or defense maybe. But friendly, I don't see any. So that's sort of something else maybe that carrier captains want to keep in mind, even if maybe you don't think you have anything left to do. There's still always something to do. Launch your planes. I mean, you could be scouting force. There's 3 enemy ships left on this in the battle here. I think we only have eyes on maybe 1 or 2 of them. So where's the 3rd, right? So you could have some planes going to do that. Excuse me, had to have some coffee there. You could have some planes going to do that, or if you have bombers, even better, right? You can start bombing some ships, setting them on fire, making them use their repair, and that'll be on cooldown. Hopefully an ally ship will come along, set them on fire again, or do some significant damage. He's not going to be able to repair it, so why just sit there? I mean, you can see now, yeah, moving up, but what's the point of that? I mean, is it just to take advantage of what the team has already won here, right? So I mean, we fought a hard battle. We sunk a lot of their ships, and now you're just gonna go in there and try to get some cap points. I don't want to get too far in this because I don't want to get too angry with it, I suppose. But just something to think about. And again, I mean, if I'm wrong and you have different opinions, I want to know them because, like I say, I'm not any sort of expert carrier player. I don't play carriers. I don't like the gameplay style with the carriers themselves. But um, let me know. Leave some comments. What are your thoughts on it? Eh, what can we do to change it? I guess is this the right thing that's going on? I don't think so, but let me know anyway, I suppose. So getting back to the game, you can see that my allies and I were now pushing through the channel. I've got, I think it's 2 other friendly cruisers with me, pushing through here. I'm getting closer to the cap. They've got 3 ships left, but you can see that ship right there is on its deathbed, New Mexico. No one else seems to be shooting at him. I'm not trying to take the kill in any way at all. It's just, the same old thing that I've been preaching about. A battleship at 1 HP does just just as much damage as a battleship at full HP. So if no one else is shooting him, I'm going to be taking this guy out because we don't need him around. We only have, well, 3 ships left, really. I mean, there's the carrier, but he hasn't done a whole lot. So there's 3 ships left, right? So I don't want him to take any chances here and him kill one of my allies. So we're going to shoot some shots off at him. I felt pretty good on my chances of killing this guy, actually. I figured I'd get him, the first salvo, but you can see there I'm missing, and I don't know what to do. I know there's an enemy ship there off to my left, so I want to keep an eye out for that as well. Send in another volley, and then he pops up, and it's like, well, I did my best on the New Mexico. I'm going to move on. There's a Cleveland over there. He's full health, almost full health. Oh, and then Lamb got the New Mexico. Fantastic. So now there's 2 enemy ships, and I mean, obviously the battle here is coming to an end. We are going to win. I mean, there's no no questioning that. So, I mean, the takeaway from the video is going to be, first of all, Cleveland is an awesome ship. You can see it here. This is probably not the best video that's out there showing the most kills, most experience and whatnot, but I'm really confident and I'm happy with it because it does show just overall flexibility of the ship here. I mean, at times I was doing AA coverage, other times I was just saturating targets. I was moving in for the kills on some. I'm now taking the cap. I was basically all over the map. The really place I didn't go was to the extreme west and maybe southwest. So been everywhere, done everything. Great ship overall. Managed not to get hit too many times, so that's always good as well. So good flexible ship. Trying is the next huge takeaway here that you want to always remember. And shout out to carrier captains especially, right? So I put up a video a few days ago, and it did have a pretty good takeaway, I thought. People commented on it as well. Thank you so much. They felt the same thing. Good takeaway. Trying, sure, might be the first step to failure, but by the same token, failure is the same first step to success. If you don't fail a few times, you don't know what's going to work. So if you're not trying to figure that out, what are you doing, right? So it's hard, right? I really didn't want to put up just a big hate video. Didn't want to do that at all. In fact, you'll notice the music today is fairly happy because I wanted to keep some sense of overall happiness here as well. But just try. That's the biggest thing. Change your gameplay. I mean, Einstein said, to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results is insanity, and it is. If you're just going to keep sucking it up in game, earning, I don't know, what is it, like 700 experience, nah, it's not worth it, right? So change it up, maybe take some chances. So game's over, we won. Did it pretty good. So I had 161 hits, not too bad at all. 2 kills, 13 fires, and 22 experience. That was with the 1.5. This is before the 2 happened. So overall, top of the team. Um, thanks so much for watching today's video. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, tell a friend, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Of course, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and look forward to more videos. Thanks again.